muscle pain, sore throat pain, there is dawa to boost your immunity. And then there is proven dawa for faster relief. Take Cipladon for faster relief from the symptoms of pain and fever.
yourself so well. So mimi ningesema tu Mheshimiwa Rais, tumefurahi umekuja kututembelea hapa Eastlands. Mimi ni mbunge jirani wa hapa Ruaraka, kwa hivyo nawakilisha wabunge wenzangu wote wa Nairobi. Nakwambia karibu, tumefurahi umekuja mara nyingine. Pia ningependelea kusisitiza nguvu uliyetilia mambo ya mazingira. Wabunge wanasiasa mara nyingi hawana nafasi ya kuangalia mbali kwa sababu wanapambana na matatizo na challenges za sasa hivi. Lakini wewe naona umeangalia mbali mambo ya climate change, climate action, umetilia nguvu, umeifikiria na sasa umeanza kuisukuma kiwango kikubwa, kwa sababu matatizo mengi tulionayo ya drought na ukame tulionao sasa hivi ni kwa sababu ya climate change. Na dealing with the bigger picture and the big issue would resolve some of the environmental problems that we suffer here in our country. So I want to thank you for taking the lead in this important challenge. Now, as the governor has said, I grew up in Nairobi. My hometown is here. I remember at a time when the waters of Nairobi River were sweet and you could drink them. Spring water. We swam in this river. And some people might say that I need to be taken to a mental hospital if I tell them we had fish in Nairobi River. It's a beautiful, nice river. And this city was a green city with a big tree coverage, of which we were very proud. One day, as we were cleaning the rubbish in my neighborhood in Kamkunji, I told someone we used to see a lot of jacaranda trees here, and flowers used to grow along the streets. Wewe ni mwanda wazimu mheshimiwa, ananiambia ukifikiria jambo kama hilo. So it is possible to change our environment, to clean our capital city and our river. And the fact that you have set up a commission to deal with that is very important, and I'm hoping that we can do it. It is doable, and we will change our Nairobi. And thank you so much once again for coming to the city, to the Eastlands. I also want to urge my former colleagues in the UN. The United Nations is an organization with the capabilities. You have the experience, you have the knowledge of how people have done things elsewhere. You have the best practices. Please lend us. It's not just money. Make Nairobi a priority, Nairobi is home to two global, it's the global capital of 2 UN agencies. Make this city a beautiful city that you can all be proud of, and make more contribution to our capital city. So, asante sana na kushukuru.
Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Yusuf. Your Excellency, I must recognize my predecessor, the former governor of Nairobi, Mike Sonko, ambaye ako hapa. Huyu alikuwa ndiye governor wa Nairobi, nikiwa senator, ni ndugu yangu. So kwa hivyo, kwa heshima ya ofisi, kwa sababu ile ofisi nimekalia ilikuwa yake, wacha nimkaribishe pia asalimiane.
Nairobi Nairobi Ruto Ruto Rigijia Sakaja. God is good and all the time. Asanteni sana Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya Daktari William Samoei Ruto, Mheshimiwa Deputy President Rigiji, mama wetu Dorcas, Prime Minister, PS, Cabinet Secretary, wageni wetu wote na wananchi, hamjambo. Mimi sitaki kuongea mambo mingi, lakini ningependa kushukuru Governor Sakaja kwa kunitambua, kwa kunipatia heshima. Mahali kulikuwa na shida kidogo kidogo, unajua sisi wananchi wakiguswa, basi sisi tunaruka kichwa, tunakuwa wazimu. Lakini ndugu yangu hapa sasa anafanya kazi. Mahali kulikuwa na shida, Mheshimiwa Rigiji alipiga msasa, tumekubali sote kumsupport Sakaja kama governor wa Nairobi. Na mimi ningependa kukuambia governor, hapa Korogocho, hawa vijana wa Com Green, hii community na jamii yote ya Korogocho, ningeomba uwashike mkono. Hawa tulianza kusafisha nao hii mto. Wewe ushikilie mahali nimewachilia. Na unajua Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa Deputy President ni watu wanajali maslahi ya mahasla. Na nyinyi vijana, mimi ningeomba vijana mimi naomba mushikilie mkono huyu gavana wetu, mushikilie muunge mkono serikali yetu. Wengine wanapofanya maandamano ya uongo, sisi tunafanya maendeleo ya ukweli. Kwa hivyo mimi leo si siku yangu, rais lazima aongee na wageni wengine waongee. Mheshimiwa Rais, hii jamii ya Korogocho ni jamii ambayo ilidhulumiwa na ile serikali ya ndugu yako ambayo ilienda. Watu walibomolewa mchana, ndio ati jamii fulani wajenge estate fulani siwa yao, sijui itoke hapa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Rais, tunaomba kwa Islam ya Korogocho, unapofanya ile agenda yako ya affordable housing, ufikirie watu wa Korogocho pia Mheshimiwa Rais. Na wale pia waliwachwa bila makao. Tuliona juzi Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, kuna mahali watu walibomolewa huko, alienda huko akasimama na wao. Tunaomba serikali iangalie, kwa sababu Article 40 sub Article 4 of our Kenyan Constitution inasema Mkenya yote yule akitolewa mahali by way of compulsory acquisition, bas serikali iangalie maslahi ya wale watu mahali wataenda, wapewe kitu kidogo na maisha yao iweze kuangaliwa. Ya mwisho, Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa ile serikali iliyopita, yale mengi ya dhulma yalifanyika, sana sana kwako wewe, kwa Deputy President wetu mpendwa, kwangu na kwa mwingine yote yule ambaye alikuwa anakuunga mkono. Watu waliekelewa makesi mingi ya uongo. Lakini tunashukuru wewe ulipoapishwa kama rais, dhulma zote ziliisha. Mheshimiwa Gachagua alikuwa ameshikiwa pesa yake kwa njia ya dhulma, amerejeshewa. Tumeona watu wameachiliwa makotini. Mimi Mheshimiwa Rais, hawa wananchi waliniombea, nikajisaidia na mahakama ikaniwachilia. Lakini mimi nashangaa Mheshimiwa Rais, kiongozi wa mashtaka DPP anaingilia kesi yangu, anaenda kuapili. Mimi naomba Mheshimiwa Rais, kuwe na usawa Kenya, na mimi niko tayari kufanya kazi na kusaidia na serikali. Ile pesa yangu mingi Uhuru Kenyatta alishika, ile pesa yangu Uhuru Kenyatta alishika, basi nisaidie hata mimi nirejeshewe kama Gachagua, niweze kusaidia serikali, tusaidiane na hawa vijana. Asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki nyote.
Asante. Aya. Your Excellency, hapa miongoni mwetu kwa sababu effects ya mto wa Nairobi River. In fact, I'd just like to add to what the UNEP director said, that you have to go to the north to see climate change. You don't have to go to the north to see the effects of climate change. Right now, as we speak, Your Excellency, the biggest source of water to Nairobi, which is Nakaine Dam, is at 50%. Meaning, even the program that we've worked on very hard, Your Excellency, on Northern Collector, even if we complete it tomorrow, we can't commission because it comes from flood waters. The waters from the catchment areas going to our rivers have dried up. So the effects are being felt today. And which is why we also have amongst us my good friend and my brother from Makueni County. Your Excellency, we've done a big project called Thwake that has been done by the national government. When it's completed, we are sending poison to Thwake because the rivers that lead there come from the Nairobi River, becomes earthy, all our tributaries. Allow me to recognize Governor Mutula Kilonzo from Makueni County, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and allow him to say one thing. Karibu Governor, karibu Kanairo.
Thank you. Asante. Thank you. Mambo? Mko sawa? Thank you. To Your Excellency the President, the Deputy President, talkers, our friends, Musalia Mudavadi, members of Parliament, MCAs, leaders present. This is a momentous occasion, Your Excellency the President. In climatic terms, we call this climate justice. This water that is black in Korogocho is green in Machakos, is green in Makueni. The innocent people in Machakos are farming. The food is coming to Nairobi. We are consuming poison. Your Excellency the President, if there's one thing that you will do as a legacy, is to make sure we have a clean river. In my youth, and this gentleman can confirm, my friend Governor Sakaja, this river had fish and this river had lobsters. But Your Excellency, the commission, this one, you need to give them helmets, you need to give them bulletproof cars. Kwa sababu wale watu ambao wanaharibu mto huu ni mabwenyenye, si hawa mahasla. And Your Excellency, these people should pay. The law calls it polluter pays principle. In the US, when Shell poured oil into the ocean, they paid for it. In Brazil, when somebody poured waste into a river in a place called Belo Horizonte, they paid for it. Anybody who pollutes the river must pay for it. Mahasla, hakuna haja mahasla watoe 100 million to clean this river. And Your Excellency, it is a tragedy. The people of Korogocho must live in human dignity. And this is a generational issue. That a child in Kenya can be born in Kenya to see a river that is black. And it's not a river. This is not a river. This is a sewer. And we should call it what it is. And we must put to shame anybody who has done this to the environment. It is a crime. And Your Excellency, if the national government can make the standard gauge railway and pass a law that if you remove a piece of metal of a standard gauge railway, it becomes an economic crime. It must be an economic crime in Kenya to pollute a river. Because those people consuming this water are getting cancer. They are dying. It is murder. Usiwasikilie huruma. Punish them. That is the way to restore this river. But we thank you for taking this bold step, together with your government, to make sure that once Thawake is completed, we can have clean water. Because that water you have promised us, we will consume it in water. And that's why I'm here. And thank you, the Deputy President, for inviting me to this auspicious occasion. I am a stakeholder. I thought that the Commission should have our stakeholders from Machakos, from Makueni, because that is where the real effects of this river are. The real poison is out there where people don't know that this water is black when you're here and turns color when you get to the other side. Thank you, Your Excellency. God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Asante sana, Mutula Jr. Your Excellency, just for the record, because, you know, Senator Mutula and I were in the Senate, where we vigorously defended devolution. The cleaning of this river is a concurrent function. Your Excellency, you remember before your inauguration, when you're President-elect, we came with a team, and I see Momo is here. We presented for you the model of what the river should look like. And you got very excited. You put it in your inaugural speech. And we said that we would jointly, as Nairobi County government, with the national government, work on the Nairobi River Commission. I want to confirm that the Deputy President and I have worked closely on this. We've sent representation. Many times I'm represented by my Deputy Governor. And even within the Commission, Nairobi has its representation. So let no one think that we have transferred functions. Mambo ya transfer tulikata. Hatutawahi transfer function Nairobi. In fact, tunakuomba utupatie functions kadhaa. Kama ya kupatia watoto chakula, school feeding program, that is a national function. We want you to give us ili ya watoto wetu. Your Excellency, hapa kuna shule mbili tu. Na that is why kuna watoto wengi hawako shule. Na hata wale wanaenda shule hawapati chakula. Tunaomba utupatie ili watoto wa Komboni, watoto wa Nyungunyu, watoto wapate chakula shuleni, na pia tuweze kuongeza idadi ya mashule. There is no secondary school that is public here in Korogocho. So, Your Excellency, for the record, and I would like our partners to know that this is a function being concurrently run between the national government and the Nairobi County government, and through us, we will incorporate Machakos. I've been speaking to Governor Wavinya Ndeti. Every time she mentions the people who are dying of cancer around Mwala, going down because of the effects of the same river, going down to Makueni County. Your Excellency, wacha kweli nitambue Comb Green. Hao vijana wa Comb Green ni vijana wetu wamepambana. Umeona ile kazi wanafanya bila vifaa na ile machine ambayo imekaa tu hapo. Tukiwashikilia, tukiongezea vifaa, and we incorporate them into this program, we will be able to succeed. Your Excellency, the minister, when she comes, will recognize the people from the national government. But here we have from my county government, the waziri wa environment. Pia sisi tunasemanga waziri kubali tu. Ni CC but ni waziri. Hata tusikie tuko na serikali. Tuko na waziri Maureen Jerry, huyu wako in charge of environment. Na pia tuko na chief officer ambaye ni PS kwa lugha yetu, Ibrahim. Tuko na managing director wa Nairobi Water, Engineer Muguna. Nairobi Water is a company 100% owned by Nairobi. Hawa tuko na wapigeni makofi watu wa Nairobi. Your Excellency, watu wa Nairobi hawajui kwamba umetusaidia na vitu viwili kwa mambo ya maji. Umetusaidia na mambo ya Karimenu, inatuletea 24,000 cubic meters. Alafu umetusaidia na hii mambo ya Northern Collector. Hiyo mambo yote leo Muguna ameniambia atatoa notice ya rationing. Nimemwambia hapana. Sisi tunaamini kutanyesha. Ungoje kwanza, ngoja kidogo, usitoe notice. Tunaomba kunyeshe. But as we are doing that, Your Excellency, tuko na mradi wa kupanda miti. Tumekubaliana na wewe na waziri Soipan ambaye tunamaliza kesho asubuhi. Hawa vijana wetu ambao hawana kazi, vijana hapa mtaani, hawa akina mama wetu ambao wako na nguvu. Tunaandika 10,000, 10,000 of them. Your Excellency, umetusupport. Tutagawa hiyo gharama kati yangu na yako, ili hivi tu mvua inapoanza na tumekaa na KFS, tunajua pale seedlings zinatoka, 4 days a week tutafanya kazi ya kupanda na kukuza miti Nairobi hii. Mko tayari? Mtaweza hiyo kazi ama mtaki hiyo kazi? Mnataka? Asante. Washiko, unaweza? Asante sana. Your Excellency, as I go to conclude, this work is really important to us. Because as we say, the environment is not something we bestow to generations to come, or what we receive from our parents is something we've taken from our children. We need to give them a better Nairobi than what we have received. We need to give them a better city. Your Excellency, just kwa sababu sijaona mbunge wa hapa na sijaona MCA wa hapa, wacha tu niguse vitu mbili ya hapa. Kwa sababu pia mimi nilichaguliwa hapa. Si mlinichagua? Your Excellency, hii hospitali ndo nimekuwa na kulilia. Hii hospitali unaona ni hospitali kubwa sana. Hii hospitali ilijengwa, ilianza zamani wakati wa Nyayo, wakati wa Kidero wakajaribu, haikuendelea. Ilifaulu juzi, lakini hii hospitali ikapeanwa ikuwe pediatric hospital na ikachukuliwa na Kenyatta. Tumekubaliana na wewe na ningependa ukumbushe wananchi. Mtu mzima akipata hapa shida haezi ingia kwa hiyo hospitali, anaambiwa aende Mama Lucy Hospital. Wamama wakihitaji kujifungua hawaingii kwa hiyo hospitali, wanaambiwa waende Mama Lucy Hospital. Mimi niko tayari kama governor wa Nairobi, tukishirikiana na wewe, kwanza tubadilishe iwe full general level 5 hospital, ili tuweze kuhudumia mtoto hadi mzee. Tuweke madaktari, tuweke vifaa, na nakuomba tukimaliza kama una dakika 5 nikupeleke uone. Iko hadi na mochari, ili wananchi wa hapa waache kusumbuka wakienda kule mbali kutafuta matibabu. Your Excellency, wakati wa NMS vitu mingi sana za Nairobi zilichukuliwa. Hii hospitali si ati tunaomba serikali ya kitaifa itupatie, ni yetu. Tunaomba mturudishie na mtusaidie kuweka vifaa, kwa sababu you support county government. It is not a national hospital, it's a county hospital. Your Excellency, watu wetu ambao waliumia wa Kariobangi Siwa, na nimefurahi ndugu yangu amesema, bado wako kwa shida kubwa sana. Najua hakuna pesa ya kupeana hivyo, lakini tuwapangie mkakati ya kuweza kuwajumuisha na jamii. Walitupwa kama maumbwa kwa sababu ya uchokozi na kwa sababu ya ubinafsi. Hata hiyo ardhi ambayo walikuwa, kuna njia ya utu ya kufukuza mtu ama ya kuondoa mtu, si hata kufukuza, kupeleka mtu pale kwingine. Kabla ya kufukuza mtu, kabla ya kuondoa mtu, ujue ni wapi anaenda na ataishi namna gani, na atakula nini na atalala wapi. Tayari Your Excellency, sisi tuna reform watu ya Kanjo. Unajua wamekaa miaka mingi walizoea kunyanyasa hao vijana. Wameanza kurudi, lakini tunaomba sasa utusaidie pia. Polisi wananyanyasa vijana wangu wa bodaboda sana na vijana wa bikes na mtaa. Because Your Excellency, we have a new government, your government and ours, that we see this as our bosses. Hao ndio wadosi wetu, sisi sio wadosi wao. Your Excellency, mwisho kabisa, najua mengine atasemwa na waziri, this river cleaning of the river. All over the world where you go, people look for property next to the river. In Kenya, people run away from the river because it stinks. We can change that narrative. It is an economic frontier. There are great opportunities for business. There are great opportunities for trade. We want, for instance, Your Excellency, between actually the museum coming down to Kamkunji town mzima, we want to expand the river. We want to have markets on one side, and on the other side to have businesses. It can be done na inawezekana. But Your Excellency, even if we clean the river, kama hatutatui shida ya siwa, ya sewerage system, hapa hakuna sewerage system. Ukiambia hawa wasiweke hiyo siwa kwa mto, wapeleke wapi? Ukiambia wale wako Kawangware zile choo ziko karibu na mto wasiweke kwa mto, waeke wapi? Tukiwabomolea. Nairobi County needs on the short term 4.7B, Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company. And I've sent you the entire program, Your Excellency. In the medium term, around 6B. In the next 5 years, if we use 19B, na si ati pesa kuomba, we can do the innovative ways to fund it. We can even get a green bond. And I'm glad the British government is helping us to get a transactional advisor to get a green bond on Nairobi Water. If you get 20 billion shillings, umesema affordable housing tujenge, siwa itakuwa wapi. Tumebadilisha the height restriction for buildings in Isili area. Mheshimiwa Yusuf ako hapa, Kiambio tumesema we'll go up to 25, 26 floors, but there's no sewer. So please support us in line with your housing program. We want to add 500,000 houses in Nairobi, but without sewer. It is going to be a disaster. This has to go hand in hand. So asante sana, Your Excellency. Asanteni sana watu wa Ruaraka, watu wa Nairobi. Siku zote tuko pamoja, na wakati mnaitiwa kazi ya kufanya kwa mto, tafadhali tieni bidii. Tafadhali mfanye hiyo kazi. Tunakaposafisha, tafadhali msikubali mtu achafue. Si ndio hiyo? Unikubali sasa Rais, kwa heshima kubwa nimwalike waziri wa mambo ya mazingira, Mheshimiwa Soipan Tuya, ili atujulishe wale ambao wametoka serikali ya kitaifa na pia atoe hotuba yake. Karibu sana waziri.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, Mama Dorcas Rigathi, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretaries, Cabinet colleagues, permanent Principal Secretaries, our valued partners, the Executive Director for UNEP, the Executive Director for UN Habitat, WRI, honorable members of Parliament, the Governor of Nairobi, the Governor of Makueni, na wananchi wako chamjambo. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you very much for this your timely establishment of the Nairobi Rivers Commission. It could not have come at a better time. And Your Excellency, to say that my ministry, which is represented in the Commission through NEMA, will offer all the support to the Commission. And I also take this opportunity to congratulate all the commissioners through the chairperson and encourage the Commission to employ an all-government, all-society approach, just like we are doing with all the other ecosystem restoration programs. Your Excellency, my ministry will particularly be very keen on enforcement of the various legal and regulatory frameworks, and particularly those touching on water quality and regulation of effluent discharge. Your Excellency, within our program and initiative to grow 15 billion trees, we have a plan within our strategy to do 50,000 hectares of bamboo per year, and we are going to capitalize on that program to give the Nairobi Rivers Basin priority in the planting of the bamboo plantations, which act as very good water purifiers. Your Excellency, allow me also to congratulate the young people, Comp Green. They've done a wonderful job. Tunawapongeza sana vijana, na kama vile governor amesema, kesho tunamalizia mpangilio wa kuweza kujadiliana mambo ya Green Army. Your Excellency, and in our discussions with governor tomorrow, we are going to build on the efforts that these young people are doing as we plan to replicate that in the entire country. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to request cabinet colleagues who are present here to stand up for recognition, and the PSs, kindly stand up. I have my PSs here, PS Kimani Kimotho, Forestry, the PS for Housing, Mheshimiwa Hinga, the PS for Environment and Climate Change, Engineer Ngeno, PS for Devolution, my sister, and we have a Cabinet Secretary in charge of lands and housing, the Honorable Njeru, PS in charge of Interior, my brother Raymond. Asanteni sana. Your Excellency, I conclude by taking this opportunity to welcome His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, to make his remarks.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais Rigathi Gachagua, Mama Dorcas, wenyeji wa Nairobi wakiongozwa na Governor Sakaja, ndugu na dada wa Korogocho, hamjambo. Yangu yatakuwa mafupi sana ili nipeane nafasi tumusikize Rais ambaye ni mgeni wetu wa heshima siku ya leo. Jambo la kwanza tu, Your Excellency, earlier this morning, I represented you and delivered your remarks on the Nile Basin Initiative, bringing together the 10 countries that rely and depend on the River Nile waters. Today, this afternoon, you are here to directly preside over the initiative of cleaning up Nairobi River. Today has been a water day. A very strong message is being sent. Rais akiwa pahali, Kenya nzima inalenga pale, na kupitia kwa mashirika kama ya UNEP, sasa ulimwengu unalenga hapa. Sio tu Nairobi, lakini Korogocho. Jambo la pili, mimi nataka niseme, kwa sababu nimepata nafasi, vile Mheshimiwa Governor wa Makueni ametaja, nimepata nafasi kuruka na ndege na kufata mto huu. Mto huu unaanza na gray, unakuwa black, na hatimaye unakuwa green. Yaani ile algae inashika kule chini, na watu wanakunywa, mifugo zinakunywa, hayo maji yanatumika kupalilia mimea, na sasa tunaanza kuona magonjwa ya aina mbalimbali yakitusumbua. Kwa hivyo kuna jukumu kubwa kama Wakenya tushirikiane. La tatu na la mwisho, constituency hii ni Ruaraka. Constituency hii haikushindwa na mbunge wa Kenya Kwanza. Walichagua mbunge wao kwa hiari yao. Lakini Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na naibu wake na serikali yake wakiandamana na wadhamini kutoka ng'ambo wamekuja hadi kwa constituency ambayo haikuchukuliwa na mbunge wa Kenya Kwanza. Ni kwa nini nasema hivyo? Nasisitiza kwa sababu nataka ile porojo ya watu kusema kwamba serikali ya Ruto ina ubaguzi ama serikali hii itakuwa na ubaguzi, wawache porojo, kwa sababu tumechaguliwa na Wakenya wote na tunahudumia Wakenya wote. Kwa hivyo hiyo agenda yao ambayo ilikuwa kule mjini wawachane nayo, sisi tunajua tuko sawa. tutashikana na Wakenya wote. Na tutafanya kazi vizuri kwa sababu tunaheshimu taifa letu. Kwa hivyo kupitia hapo nataka nisisitize kwamba sisi tuko na heshima na Wakenya wote na tunataka mji wetu na mto wetu uwe safi na Wakenya wote wapate nafuu. Sasa ni wajibu wangu na furaha yangu kumkaribisha Naibu wa Rais Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, naye aje anene na zungumze na Wakenya. Asante.
Kiongozi wetu ambaye ni Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Daktari William Samoei Ruto, Private Cabinet Secretary, mawaziri, our development partners, watu ya Korogocho, hamjambo? God is good and all the time. Munisalimie kwa hewa. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Yesu asifiwe tena. Korogocho hoi. Muko sawa? Happy New Year. Mumefurahia kuona rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya anaitwa nani? Na ndio huyu ameketi hapa. Mnamtambua hamtambui? Wangapi wanamtambua kama rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya? Tunasikia wengine wako pale wanapiga kelele wanasema hamtambui. Mnamtambua hamtambui? Basi mambo iko namna hiyo. Rais wetu, kiongozi wetu, tunasema asanti kwa wewe kupata nafasi kufika hapa ndio tuzidue Nairobi Rivers Commission ambaye uliteua mwisho ya mwaka uliopita kusaidia kusafisha huu mto wa Nairobi. Your Excellency, you assembled a competent team of men and women, serious professionals whom we have been working with, and I can tell you with confidence that they have a plan, and we have been working with the development partners who are going to be technical experts in this program. And Your Excellency, is all systems go. Wewe mwenyewe umesema unataka hii kazi yanze, na vile umeweka haya maneno kwa ofisi yangu na kuhakikishia kwamba from time to time nitakuwa natembelea huu mradi kuhakikisha ya kwamba unaendelea vile natakikana. Vile tunataka kuuliza commission and our development partners, we request you to put resources and expertise in this commission so that we can enlarge our capacity by adding value and we work together. Tunaomba pia commission and all those who are going to put resources, ile kazi yote ambaye itafanywa katika kusafisha mto huu ipatiwe hao wananchi ndio pia waweze kupata riziki. I want to confirm to the commissioners and our development partners that our president is very committed to the cleaning up of this river. Every day he asks me the progress. So I am well aware of where he places the importance of this exercise. And I urge all of you to work with commitment and hard work. Nikimalizia vile waziri wetu mkuu amesema. Sisi huyu rais wetu ametuambia na tumekubali kwa sababu ndio kiongozi wetu ya kwamba hii Kenya yote ni yetu. Wale wote ambaye walimpigia kura, wale hawakumpigia, wote ni wa Kenya na atawafanyia kazi. Na yeye akiwa kiongozi wa nchi ataendelea hiyo kazi. Na mimi nikiwa kiongozi wa UDA naendelea kushughulikia watu ya UDA, naye rais anashughulikia watu ya Kenya. Your Excellency, tukiwa hapa tunataka tuseme. Tumesema tukiwa pale Kericho na tunarudia. Kazi ya maendeleo itafanyika kila pahali Jamhuri ya Kenya. Hapa Korogocho, juzi tulikuwa Nyanza, mipango ya maendeleo. Kwa sababu kila Mkenya analipa kodi. Lakini wale wafanyikazi wa kumsaidia rais atatafuta wale ambaye wanakubali na kuamini the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, kwa sababu ndio wanaelewa agenda yake. Kwa sababu lazima utapata wale viongozi, wale wa kukusaidia ni wale wanaelewa agenda yako, ndio uweze kupata progress katika kazi ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo watu ya Korogocho, tutakuwa hapa. Mimi mwenyewe nitakuja kuhakikisha ya kwamba mmepewa kazi kwa hii mto, ndio kila Saturday mnapata pesa ya kujisaidia. Tumekubaliana? Tumekubaliana? Kwa hayo mengi, ningetaka kwa heshima kubwa nimuulize, msimame, tumukaribishe Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto. Mheshimiwa Rais.
Aya. Korogocho wa mjambo. Korogocho wa mjambo. Mambo. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Asanteni, tuketi chini. Wale tulio na viti. Asanteni sana. Mheshimiwa Deputy President, waheshimiwa mawaziri, Mheshimiwa Governor wetu wa jiji la Nairobi, our friends from UNEP, from UN, from UNDP, and all the other partners present here, distinguished guests, the great people of Korogocho. We gather here today to affirm that we have embarked on a journey and there will be no turning back. I am grateful to our special guests and esteemed visitors who are here to bear witness to this historic moment. For far too long, the city of Nairobi has fallen into a state of shameful, hazardous, and unpleasant state of environmental and sanitary neglect. Runaway being so normalized that there are people who have never seen the green, clean, healthy, and safe city in the sun that Nairobi used to be. In other words, commitment to the integrity of the environment is a central feature of political, economic, social, and cultural life in our nation. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda fully recognizes that shared prosperity is guaranteed in our time as so long as it is driven by clean, green growth. This means that we shall be custodians of the environment in recognition of our generation's twin obligations as heirs of the generation that came before us and as trustees for posterity. The responsible stewardship of the environment agenda is a matter of intergenerational justice, and we shall not be a generation so reckless as to pursue a scorched earth policy in our quest for prosperity. This commitment is particularly relevant at a time when climate change has subjected the earth to unprecedented temperature increase, leading to rising sea levels, flooding and drought of huge intensity and for long duration. Our obligation to respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution entails the full observance of our duties in respect to the environment. The measure of this commitment can only be the entrenchment of our agenda for clean green growth, the restoration of degraded landscapes and ecosystems, including forests and river basins. Mountains of rotting garbage, innumerable kinds of harmful refuse dumped in rivers and streams, and dust and smoke have over time become the defining characteristics of Nairobi in particular and urbanization in Kenya in general.
This state of affairs has led to various undesirable developments. The centralization of heavy metals and assorted toxins in the soil, air, and water has reached dangerous levels, putting the well-being of residents in great jeopardy. The story of the governor of Makueni tells it all. Nothing symbolizes the regrettable environmental degradation in our city better than Nairobi rivers, which have become channels of murky and toxic streams and not the fresh, clear, cool waters. Once the rivers abound with variety of aquatic life that is non-existent today. To put Nairobi and its river basin's ecologically crisis in perspective, let us recall that the city is an anglicized pronunciation of Enkare Nyarobe, which in Kimasai means the river of cool waters. For the Maasai, a famous pastoral community, this name was not only a fair description, but also high praise for a river basin where Morans watered their herds and flock with absolute confidence that pollution and toxicity were non-existent. Today, no one, not even the most reckless among us, can dare so much as taste the water in any stream in Nairobi river system. It is discolored, smelly, often corrosive and toxic. This state of affairs must come to an end, and the unsafe and unhealthy environmental situation must be corrected to restore Nairobi to its true identity. We have resolved that the city must not only reclaim its glorious reputation as Africa's green city in the sun, but also live up to its ancestral identity as the river of cool, fresh, and safe waters. This commitment is emphatic and unambiguous. Kenya's National Development Blueprint is categorical that the shared prosperity we must pursue has to be attained in a clean and secure environment. The preamble to our Constitution has made it clear that a shared consciousness of our respect for the environment is our heritage and collective determination to sustain it for the benefit of future generations. For this reason, the right of every person to a clean and healthy environment is affirmed. Article 42 of our Constitution gives the right to protect the environment for the benefit of the present and future generations, and also to have environmental obligations. A few weeks ago, I presided over the commencement of activities to restore the Ngong Forest Complex, which is the source of many rivers that form the Nairobi Rivers Basin. Our national program to plant 15 billion trees by 2032 will restore many river sources and catchment areas. The work we are inaugurating today advances this restoration and rehabilitation agenda so that the water flowing in our rivers may begin to support a profusion of aquatic life again. This portion of the cleaning and greening campaign is of special personal significance to me. My research project for my master's degree documented significant changes in water quality due to pollution of the wetlands in Nairobi National Park. I therefore recommended conservation measures to bring pollution under control in my thesis. A number of stakeholders have worked hard over the years to do precisely this work. From 2000, UNEP undertook the Nairobi River Basin Project. In 2019, UNEP again collaborated with the Rotary Club under the Adopt a River initiative, which is still going on. Likewise, the UN Habitat, in collaboration with the government, undertook the Nairobi River Regeneration initiative. Finally, the National Environmental Management Authority has been implementing the Urban Rivers Regeneration Program since 2019. Despite this commendable work, the Nairobi River Basin ecosystem has not regenerated sufficiently to sustain aquatic life, and much work remains to be done to turn murky streams into rivers of cool water. The Nairobi Rivers Commission represents a fresh, resolute, and substantive effort to supplement, complement, catalyze, and accelerate all previous efforts to enable Nairobi live up to the promise of its name and recapture its reputation as the clean, green city in the sun. As things stand today, we all know that Nairobi is the city in the garbage. The Commission is inclusive, participatory, and collaborative, and represents collective action on a major scale and with representation from various multi-stakeholder groups. And I want to ask my deputy to include representatives from the county of Machakos and the county of Makueni, so that they too can make input into this great program, either as co-opted members or members in whatever other form, to make sure that this project is cross-county, as the governor has said earlier. The Commission also has an advisory group made up of UN Habitat, UNEP, World Resources Institute, development partners, and private sector organizations. With this new impetus, the aspiration to make Nairobi Rivers Basin viable and the water clean is virtually guaranteed to happen very rapidly. The people of Nairobi are finally able to give themselves, hopefully, clean rivers. And I want to commend my deputy who has been on top of this program, and I specifically assigned him this responsibility because we want the whole of government, the whole of society, the whole of community involved in this process, because it's the only way we can get this done. Let me also reiterate that the project we are, pengine niseme kwa Kiswahili, hii mpango ya Nairobi Rivers Commission, kwanza nataka niwapongeze vijana wengi sehemu nyingi katika mji wetu wa Nairobi kwa ile kazi tayari wanafanya kusafisha mito yetu ya Nairobi. Ile takataka wanaokota na ile kazi yote wanafanya ili kufanya mji wetu wa Nairobi iwe ni mji msafi. Mimi nataka niwaeleze wote ya kwamba tutafanya kazi pamoja na nyinyi. This commission, as I have said, has not come to replace any stakeholder who is doing something at the moment about the cleaning and greening of our city. But we have come to complement, we have come to collaborate, we have come to accelerate so that we can achieve this in a shorter time by involving everybody. Let me also say, for the avoidance of doubt, that the government of Kenya, under the Ministry of Environment, is partnering with the County of Nairobi so that we can hire 12,770 young people and women in Nairobi City. From the 15th of next month, they are going to participate in the cleaning and greening and especially growing trees in the city of Nairobi. We are partnering because we believe that this is an all-of-government program that involves both the national and the county government. The governor, the senator, the women rep, all members of parliament, all members of county assembly will participate in ensuring that at least 150 young people and women in every ward are identified for this assignment so that we can work together going into the future. Let me also assure you that those who are currently pouring sewage into our rivers will shortly have no excuse. Because, just to respond with what Vile Sakaja amesema, kwamba tuko na mpango kamili. Tulikuwa na mpango ya kujenga manyumba Kenya. Hiyo mpango ilikwama pale nyuma kwa sababu ya kukosa focus. Tumeanzisha hiyo mradi sasa, tayari nyumba 29,000 tunajenga hapa Nairobi. Na nimesema wakati tunajenga hizo manyumba hapa Nairobi, nafasi ya ajira kama ni nafasi 70,000, vijana wa mitaa watajumuishwa katika kazi hiyo ya kujenga manyumba zetu. Tumesema vile vile vijana ambao wanafanya kazi ya jua kali, wale wanajenga madirisha, wale wanajenga milango, wale wanafanya kazi hiyo ingine yote ambayo inahitajika katika shughuli hiyo, wawe ni vijana ambao wanapatikana katika kila sehemu. Kama manyumba inajengwa Nairobi, na watu wa Nairobi ndio watashughulika na hiyo kazi ya kujenga hiyo manyumba. Vile vile tumekubaliana ya kwamba wakati tunajenga hizo manyumba lazima pia kuwe na sewage system. Na mimi nataka niwatangazie watu wa Nairobi, tayari tuko na mradi wa bilioni 22 ya sewage ya Nairobi City. Tuko na contractors 5 in one program, na tuko na contractors 4 katika program ingine kuhakikisha hasa Eastlands, hii Eastlands yote tuwe na sewage system. Na mimi nitamwambia governor wetu aunganishe Nairobi Water na Athi Water wafanye kazi pamoja kwa hiyo mpango, kwa sababu we have a program already funded by the Africa Development Bank and other development partners for the establishment, for the construction and for the installation of a proper sewage system, especially in Eastlands, so that we can manage sewage, we can manage waste, and it should never go to our rivers. Therefore, those who are polluting our rivers with sewage, I put you on notice, because that must stop. Our rivers are not a place for sewage. We have a sewage system. We are expanding that sewage system so that every homestead can find a sewage system that they can channel their sewage into those systems and not into our rivers. So, Mheshimiwa Governor, mwambia watu yako huyo jamaa wa Nairobi Water atafute jamaa mwingine anaitwa Michael Duita wa Athi Water, wafanye kazi pamoja, kwa sababu hiyo mpango inaendelea saa hizi, and we want to work with you so that we can provide the sewage for the city of Nairobi. Nataka vile vile niseme ya kwamba mpango wetu ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunabadilisha Nairobi ni mpango ambayo hauwezi kusimama. Hata wakati tunapanga sasa hii mambo ya kusafisha mito yetu, tunataka every place, hasa nimeona hapa Coach, wale watu wote wanaishi kando kando ya hiyo mito, nyumba zenu tutawajengea nyumba mpya ambaye mtaishi kule. We are going to make sure that this regeneration program of our rivers will include the regeneration of our housing development in those areas. Kwa hivyo nimekuta jamaa pale alikuwa anaishi kwa nyumba kidogo iko mabati sijui namna gani. Mimi nataka nimwambie huyo jamaa na wale wengine wote ya kwamba mpango wetu wa housing pale tutawajengea nyumba, mutalipa shilingi 3,000 peke yake kila mwezi, na baada ya miaka 15 hiyo nyumba inakuwa yako. sio ya kukodesha na kulipa. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Tunaelewana? Nairobi tunaelewana? Na hiyo kazi tutafanya kwa sababu mumetupatia nafasi ya kushughulika na hiyo kazi. Gavana pia amezungumza kuhusu hii hospitali ambayo ilianzishwa karibu miaka 25 iliyopita. Mimi nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba hii hospitali in the next 1 month, hii hospitali itafanya kazi kwa wananchi wote. Wizara ambayo inahusika na mambo ya afya watafanya kazi na huyu gavana wenu na county government ya Nairobi, tuhakikishe ya kwamba kama kuna vifaa ambayo haitoshi, kama kuna sehemu haijakamilika, tutakamilisha, tutaweka vifaa zile inahitajika, ndio hii hospitali isiwe ya watoto peke yao, iwe ya watoto na watu wazima na kila mtu katika sehemu hii yenu, ndio isaidiane na zile hospitali zingine ambazo ziko katika sehemu hii ya Korogocho na sehemu hii ya Eastlands. Isabu watu wa hapa Ruaraka na watu wa kule Embakasi wote wafaidike na kazi hiyo ambayo tunafanya kwa pamoja. Mwisho, mimi nataka niwaeleze pia wangwana wa Nairobi. Sasa tunakamilisha ile bomba la maji ambaye tunaita Karemenu. Tumekamilisha na maji ya Karemenu imefika hapa Nairobi 24,000 liters every day. Ile ambayo tunakamilisha sasa ni ile ambayo inatoka Kabete, ile inaitwa Northern Collector. Na hiyo in the next 1 month tutakuwa tumekamilisha, na tutaongeza maji ambayo itafika Nairobi kwa sababu mvua itanyesha. Na vile vile niwahakikishie ile ingine ambayo ilikuwa imekwama ya Ruiru tu, hiyo pia nimeikwamua. Nimezungumza na serikali ya kule Ufaransa na wamerudisha pesa yetu kwa wakora ambao walikuwa wameiba, na sasa tutatengeneza hiyo bwawa na mpate maji hapa Nairobi. Tunaelewana jameni? Nairobi tunaelewana? Mimi nataka niwahakikishie ndugu zangu watu wa Nairobi, hii Nairobi kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, inshallah tutabadilisha hii Nairobi tukifanya kazi pamoja na nyinyi. Musikue na wasiwasi ya kwamba eti kutaenda hivi, eti kutaenda vile. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie mambo ya uchaguzi na viongozi tulimaliza tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8. Ile kazi imebaki sasa sio ya vyeo na mamlaka ya viongozi tena. Ile kazi tuko nayo sasa ni ya wananchi hawa. Tupange mambo ya wananchi, na wauliza viongozi wenzetu, msianze kutuuliza mambo ya uchaguzi ya 2027. 2027 ni miaka 5 ijayo. Sasa tunataka kuongea mambo ya hawa wananchi ya leo na kesho kutwa mpaka ifike siku hiyo. Tunaelewana jameni? Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Korogocho, mnataka tuendelee kuongea mambo ya viongozi, nani yako na kiti, nani hajapata, nani alikosa? Mimi nataka niwaambie mambo ya uchaguzi na mambo ya viongozi tulimalizana nayo. Mambo ya saa hii ni mambo ya hawa wananchi. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tunaelewana? Tunaelewana? Na mimi nataka niwaambie wale ndugu zetu watulize boli. Watulize boli. Tunaelewana? Na wasituuzie uoga. Sisi sio watu wa kuuziwa uoga. Tunaelewana? Kila Mkenya ako na haki katika taifa letu la Kenya. Tunaelewana watu wa Korogocho na watu wa hapa Ruaraka? Sisi malengo yetu, mpango yetu ni kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya inaenda mbele. Na mimi nataka niwaambie wale majamaa. Tunaelewana? Niwaambie nisiwaambie? Niwaambie nisiwaambie? Nataka niwaambie wale majamaa. Nyinyi mulikuwa na miaka 5 ya mahandshake na mambo yenu. Bei ya unga ikafika shilingi 230. Saa hii tumeteremusha imefika 180. Watupatie nafasi itakuja 140. Watupatie nafasi itakuja 120. Wawache kimbelembele walikuwa na nafasi yao wakaharibu. Mimi nataka niwaambie wale majamaa. Na waambia wale majamaa walituacha na madeni kibao. Karibu nchi yetu iteleze ingie mahali ambapo ya kukwama. Saa hizi tumeanza kupunguza madeni. Katika budget ya mwaka huu tumepunguza bilioni 300 ya madeni. Hata wale walikuwa wametufungia katika masoko ya kitaifa, katika international financial institutions, saa hizi hata interest rate ambayo ilikuwa imefika 17%, saa hizi tumeteremusha imefika less than 10% kwa ile soko ya kimataifa. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa majamaa, si wanajifanya ati wao ndio majogoo wa Nairobi. Nairobi gani? Nairobi hii ya mto chafu na takataka na mambo ya machafu kama haya. Mimi nataka niwaambie watupatie nafasi, tufakie chafu ya Nairobi, tuondoe takataka na sewage kwa Nairobi River, tuwaonyeshe vile city ya Nairobi inafaa kukaa, sio ile city wamezoea ya takataka na chafu na sewage. Tunaelewana jameni? Watupatie nafasi, tubadilishe Nairobi. Mtu wa Nairobi asilipe rent miaka yote. Mtu wa Nairobi aanze kulipa mortgage baada ya miaka 15 awe na nyumba hapa Nairobi. Kila mtu awe na nyumba hapa Nairobi. That is the city we want. Tunaelewana jameni? Kwa hivyo hawa jamaa watulize boli. Ama mnasemaje? Ati wanataka kututisha na maandamano. Watafanya maandamano mpaka watachoka. Kwa sababu tunawaambia hatuwezi kukubali. And let me say, for the avoidance of doubt, that Kenya is going to be a country run on the basis of the rule of law and the Constitution. And all citizens have an equal opportunity, and no citizen is greater than the other. As president, I am going to make sure that we avoid and we banish impunity. There is nobody who is going to threaten Kenya with impunity. Everybody must respect the law, and this country is going to be governed by the rule of law, and we will make sure that everybody obeys the Constitution and works and respects the rule of law. I want to tell our friends who are used to impunity, who are used to forcing their way, that they will have no way, because this is going to be a country based on the rule of law, and nobody, let me repeat, nobody, let me say it again, nobody is going to threaten Kenyans. Nobody is going to drive this country using impunity. We are going to be governed by the rule of law. Tunaelewana jameni? Tuko pamoja? Tunaelewana? This event then is our forum to demonstrate that clean green growth is not only possible but also feasible for our generation in a few years from now. And we are going to demonstrate by what we are going to do in the next 5 years around the Nairobi Rivers Basin and ecosystem. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. God bless you. Mungu awabariki sana. Na ninawapenda sana.
We are well aware that the task ahead of us is complex. We will not relent. We will not give up. Our eyes are all on the ball. This is a legacy to build. There are no two ways about it. Your Excellency, the launch is taking place at a time when the three rivers of the basin, namely Ngong, Nairobi, and Madari, are experiencing some extreme levels of pollution occasioned by the domestic, medical, and industrial and industrial waste generated as a result of the poor land use, the disposal of solid and liquid waste from the sprawling informal settlements, and waste from the industrial plants located in the midstream and the downstream zones of the three rivers. Your Excellency, another challenge that has affected rivers flow is the prolonged drought that has significantly reduced the volumes of water flows, hence resulting in concentrated minimal volumes. This loss of biodiversity has endangered aquatic life almost to the extinction, if anything is to go by. Despite this gloomy picture of the river basin, some successful attempts have been made over the years to restore and regenerate water flows in the three rivers. Your Excellency, the government and private sector initiatives supported by our development partners, including UN Habitat, UNEP, and World Resources Institute, have gone a long way to making strides towards making the success of cleaning the Nairobi rivers a reality. Besides, there have been success stories aimed at the restoration of the quality river and water flows and revival of biodiversity, especially within the midstream zones of the Nairobi River. The most successful initiative started by the Kenya government is that of the now famous Michuki Park, located between the National Museum Hill and the the Globe Cinema roundabout. Your Excellency, the riparian reserves of Nairobi River, tributaries namely Ngong, Mathare, and Nairobi, have been encroached by both formal and informal settlements that lack adequate sanitation and sewerage services. Your Excellency, the restoration and rehabilitation process of the river is an inevitable aspect since it shall help in curbing the pollution issue. The first attempt to clean the river was in 1999 under the Nairobi River Basin Program. Since then, there have been more attempts, with the most promising one being under the directive of the late Cabinet Minister Honorable John Michuki, which was praised for reviving a river which was dead because of the dumping of human and industrial waste. There are recent efforts including construction of wastewater treatment facilities in Dandora, construction of sewer reticulation network, including fecal sludge management infrastructure, and construction of ablution blocks to help improve conditions in informal settlements. Nairobi River continues to suffer from pollution caused by different source and non-source points. Your Excellency, approximately 50% of the capital city residents live in highly congested, informal, and middle-class settlements, mainly located along the Nairobi river banks. Increased urbanization, development of real estate, industrial development, among other factors, are attributed to the causes of pollution. Furthermore, key green recreation areas like the Nairobi Arboretum Forest are being choked by the polluted Kericho River within the middle class and high-rise building areas. The result is Nairobi residents no longer have clean air during sporting or holding of communal events at the park. To avert such problems, it is important to reclaim the Nairobi River Basin to ensure reduced cases of pollution and curbing it in the long term. Lastly, the Nairobi River Commission would like to thank the Kenya government and development partners like UNEP, UN Habitat, and the Water Resources Institute of the World Bank for their contribution to the new mandate for NRC as initiated through the loaded terms of reference. Your Excellency, the Commission is committed to deliver to Kokazi. We are excited by the commitment of your administration through the Office of the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. We commit to work with all the actors, both states and actors at local, national, and international arena. We are ready to listen to you and to work with you to finish the unfinished business of cleaning the Nairobi River. Finally, Your Excellency, I appeal to all Kenyans to support this cause. We are in this for the good of the country, for the good of our people, and for the good of humanity, even as we battle the adverse effects of climate change and make the Nairobi River Basin clean again. Your Excellency, at this point, I would ask for permission to introduce the advisory board to the Nairobi Rivers Commission and request them to come forward. Yes. Okay. It was true. They introduce you? Yes. With me, His Excellency, is the daughter of the late Wangari Maathai. She is Wajira Maathai, representing the World Resources Institute. Next is yes. We also have UNEP here, represented by Dr. Alfred Tooth. Sorry. UN Habitat, sorry. Then followed by Inga Anderson, the Executive Director of UNEP. And then last we have the MD of NEMA. And His Excellency, if you allow me, I would request them to make a statement. No? I'm properly guided, His Excellency, and we will ask the Managing Director of NEMA to take over. His Excellency, I'm guided again that I was okay to invite the representative of the World Resources Institute to make a statement.
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellency, the President, William Samoei Ruto, lovely to see you. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, thank you. Her Excellency, Pastor Dorcas, I know how much this means to you. The Governor of Nairobi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Governor of Nairobi, His Excellency Johnson Sakaja, Cabinet Secretary of Environment, Honorable Soipan Tuya, the Executive Director of UNEP, the Executive Director of UN Habitat, and our UN Coordinator, Stephen Jackson, also here. Dignitaries, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, on behalf of the World Resources Institute, I'm truly honored to be here today to launch the Nairobi Rivers Commission. This is a critical step, really, in amplifying the work that local communities, resident communities here have been doing already to restore and revitalize the rivers of Nairobi. I want to thank you and acknowledge your government's commitment to establishing this commission, and actually, most importantly, to providing this high level of political support that is required for this commission to have the muscle to deliver. As a permanent commission with a strong political will and domiciled at the office of His Excellency, the Deputy President, we are nicely set up for success. Now, the communities here in Korogocho are one of the many communities we know have already been rehabilitating Nairobi rivers. We do not have to look far. Yes, please recognize them. We actually don't have to look so far to be inspired. They've created right here the People's Park, vegetable gardens, playgrounds for children, and economic activities like the tree nurseries we just saw. Today we celebrate them. We want to lift their efforts up and consolidate and say that we're actually joining them in upscaling their efforts. In Kenya, we have seen what it takes and what can be done when we collectively protect nature. My late mother, Wangari Maathai, led the women of the Greenbelt movement in planting 4 million trees not too far away here in the Aberdares to protect the primary catchment area for our wonderful city of Nairobi and to improve the quality and the quantity of water. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, rivers are a very good indicator for the ecosystem health because everything we do outside the river ultimately affects the health of the river, from our homes to industries. The truth of the matter is that rivers themselves are like open books. They will tell the full story of how we are conducting ourselves. What we are doing as communities and as industry, as commercial enterprises, will ultimately reflect in the health of the rivers. Therefore, we must really work at all levels, sectors, and scales outside the rivers of Nairobi to ensure the rivers of Nairobi are healthy. So, Your Excellency, I want to leave us with 3 guidelines that I hope will guide our work as a commission. Number 1, A, arrest. These are the ABCs. A, arrest. We must arrest pollution, contamination, and the destructive activities that affect the health and well-being of communities that actually live along the rivers of Nairobi and beyond. B, basin. I could not be more excited that we are taking, as a commission, a basin approach to this work. You heard it from our chair. What is happening upstream, sooner or later will find its way downstream. Everything is connected. And C, communities. We must continue to center local communities adjacent to these rivers by working with them, amplifying their voices, investing in them, and scaling up their innovations. Today we planted trees, and all of those trees have to be taken care of. They have to be watered. Indeed, nature-based solutions are good business ideas. So I hope that we will invest in those communities for at least 3 years, that the trees that we planted today will survive. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we at the World Resources Institute will remain committed to working with you and supporting and committed as technical partners. We will share our passion and our expertise working in cities as we have in India, Mexico, and Brazil to revitalize those cities. I'm so happy that we are bringing that work right here to Kenya. So, of course, this work will not happen overnight. It will be equally challenging as it will be rewarding. But we are committed. We are here for the long run, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and all the way we will build a lasting legacy together. Thank you. It is a privilege to serve.
His Excellency, allow me to call the UN Habitat representative, Dr. Raphael.
Your Excellency, Daktari William Samoei Ruto, President of Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of Republic of Kenya, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Soipan Tuja, Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and all other Cabinet Secretaries present here, Your Excellency Johnson Sakaja, Governor of Nairobi City County, the Executive Director of UNEP, the
22. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you and I lay the papers.
What is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, am I safe? No, Mr. Speaker. No. I've been given. No. Mr. Speaker, the reason you threw some people out of this house, now I understand. Because they're telling me I'm out of order. You are the only person who can rule me whether I'm out of order. And because you give me this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, my whip, Mr. Speaker, mentioned people who passed away. And he put my name between those people and Cherargei. So, Mr. Speaker, today I don't, so I'm asking whether I'm safe, Mr. Speaker, you protect me. Or he can substantiate what he meant, Mr. Speaker, because I don't know whether I'm safe. I don't know whether, because I thought, Mr. Speaker, he wanted to mention, when he meant karaoke, I thought he was to speak about Gigi Karaoke, who is from Laikipia County. But now he mentioned people who died mysteriously, Mr. Speaker. So, and he put me in that list, Mr. Speaker. So I'm scared, Mr. Speaker, maybe he can substantiate what he means.
Okay, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Yeah, we have a series of statements. We start with Senator Enoch Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I request that you order the Senator of Kitui County be heard in silence. Mr. Speaker,
Senator, just consult Senator Boni Karwale, just a close.
don't exchange with the Speaker in that manner. Yeah.
Senator Boni Karwale, can you be clear on this matter because the two senators are not comfortable? They're already traumatized.
Mr. Speaker, you conspicuously noticed that when you are being requested to retract your statement which you had read midway, and when members were requesting for apologies, I did not request to speak. We are losing it. I'm referring to those great men who, because people wanted them out of the way so that they would not continue being here. Just to remind ourselves that to be here, it is a serious platform. Very serious. Mr. Speaker, since you have allowed me, allow me to say this one. Just this one, please, kindly. That
you know, when you become emotional, Senator Carol, you start singing.
Yes,
so
I will not
trying
sing.
to.
Mr. Speaker, seeing what is going on in this house, members will just have to go back to the rules. If indeed you have accepted painstakingly to do what you did, then I would be expecting also members to also hold a conversation with themselves the way you did. This would be the time, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the senator of Isiolo to re-examine herself and ask if it is true that knowingly that the sub judice rule applies just as much to Parliament as it does to the judiciary, what would she do in view of that, if we are serious? Mr. Speaker, similarly, I would be requesting the leader of the minority to talk to himself. That if knowing the rules, he can stand in his place and walk right to the chair and warn you directly, and in the process attract his colleagues. Is that the way we want to run this house? If it is the house that was so important that these people, whose names I've invoked, lost their lives, ladies and gentlemen, honorable senators, let's not do that. Let's not do it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Dulo is a lawyer. Mr. Speaker,
go to the details of that matter because
yes, I'm concluding with this remark because then you have allowed me that much. Mr. Speaker, you did not invite yourself into speaking to the separation of the offices. There was a lot of point of order upon point of order that caused you to prepare this communication. Otherwise, originally you had refused. Why are we being dishonest? Are you saying we are children in this house? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Enoch.
All I can say that is very deep. The Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on the afforestation program in arid and semi-arid lands. In the statement, the committee should, 1, expound on the national government policy for afforestation in arid and semi-arid land areas with regard to the realization of the set minimum 10% forest cover in the country as provided for in the Constitution. 2, state the current national forest cover noting efforts by the Kenya Forest Research Institute, KEFRI, that were intended at raising the forest cover to 10% by 2022 in line with the National Forest Program. Number 3, inform the Senate how many trees have been planted since the launch of the afforestation initiative by the government in 2018 against the intended target of 1.8 billion trees. Number 4, spell out the strategic interventions put in place by government to produce 1.8 billion quality and sustainable tree seedlings for purposes of increasing the tree cover. Number 5, the Speaker elucidate on the actions being taken by the government to increase public awareness, education, and sensitization on tree growing across the country. And lastly, number 6, elaborate on the measures put in place by the government to ensure that Kenyans benefit from carbon credits through the afforestation initiatives being undertaken across the country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Senator from Laikipia, in 1 minute, comment on the statement by the Honorable Senator Enoch Wambua.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Nataka kuchukua fursa hii kuunga mkono taarifa iliyoletwa na Senator Enoch Wambua. Ni kweli mambo ya upanzi wa miti serikali imechukulia kwa uzito sana. Nakumbuka Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya akisema kwamba tupande miti. Na ni jambo la muhimu sana kwa sababu ukiangalia hasa sehemu zetu ambazo ziko na miti kunanyesha, lakini sehemu ambazo ni jangwa zimebaki jangwa kwa sababu hakuna miti. Bwana Spika, ninapoongea ukitembelea sehemu ya Laikipia, hasa pale panaitwa Igwameti, mahali Laikipia University iko, ni jambo la kuvunja moyo sana kwa sababu pale katika chuo kikuu kazi wanayofanya ni kukata miti usiku na mchana, Bwana Spika, bila kuzingatia kuendelea vile ambavyo seneta wa Kitui alivyosema, Senator Wambua, vile ambavyo tunaendelea kupanda miti. Kwa hivyo vile ambavyo tungependa kusema ni kamati ambayo itashughulikia hilo jambo ambalo limetajwa hapa. Waangalie sio tu sehemu zile seneta alizotaja, washughulikie mpaka sehemu za Laikipia, hasa Laikipia University, kwa sababu hapo ndiko kuna shida kubwa, wanakata miti kiholela na wapandi miti, Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo naunga mkono taarifa iliyotolewa na nataka kumwambia Senator Wambua ambaye ni kiongozi wa wachache, naibu wa kiongozi wa wachache katika bunge, serikali ya Kenya Kwanza imejitolea mhanga kufa kupanda miti. Na ni kweli mimi najua kwa sababu waziri anayehusika tumekuwa na yeye Laikipia na tumeamua tutapanda miti na tayari tuko na miche karibu 3 pale Laikipia. Kwa hivyo tunaongoza kutoka mbele na watu wa Kitui wakitaka tutawasaidia na hiyo miche. Asante Bwana Spika.
Thank you, Honorable Senator. Senator Maruma Mwashushwe.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to comment and ride on the statement by Senator Enoch Wambua about afforestation and the regeneration of our forests. It's a very important statement, given that most of the areas that had a lot of rainfall, had a lot of water, now have dried up. Where I come from, Mr. Speaker, a place called Undanyi, we used to have springs in Undanyi. But now what we are seeing is desertification. What we are seeing now is people being supplied water using water boozers. So I think it's a very important statement. And what we'd be wanting to see from the government of Kenya Kwanza is implementation, because you can have very good programs and projects, but the implementation is the problem. Kenya Kwanza estimated that they would plant 5 billion trees in 5 years. In that estimation, then would have about 1 billion trees in 1 year. So out of 47 counties, 1 billion trees then we'd be expecting to have a supply of 100 million trees per county. I'm yet to see the 100 million trees in my county. So what I would be begging the Kenya Kwanza government is to supply the trees, walk the talk, because climate change is real. And when you have climate change, then the people who are affected are women and children and PLWDs. I would like to write on that statement, and I would be wanting to see the responses that we'll be getting from the Lands, Environment and Natural Resources Committee, which I sit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Maruma, you also have a statement, right? Go ahead and read your statement.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to read this statement. But I must say that the statement that I intended to read first, it has gone through processing, and the one that I have here has really quite been dismembered. But I was going to I was still going to bring this statement, but was dismembered through the time of processing. But because now this has come earlier, I will still read it and then follow through the Secretariat and see where the initial version is. Because, Mr. Speaker, the initial version was that there's somebody who is abstracting water using Kenya pipelines without public participation. But still, for Mzima 2, I was going to go through it. So just allow me to go through the statement, and then I follow through what happened to the initial statement.
What's your point of order, Cherargei?
Speaker, this is a house of rules, order and procedure and precedence. When you look understanding under 53, 52, 53, 54, 55, if we allow Senator Mwaruma, my good friend, Mwashushe, to read this version of the statement, I'm worried it might not fulfill the threshold of Standing Order 55, where he talks about the contents of requests for statement, as in shall not be for debate, frame to give information, or convey a particular point of view, contain an argument, interference, opinion, repeat substance covered, seek an expression of opinion, be excessive of length, ask a private individual or an official body to more than one subject, Mr. Speaker. So for neatness of the House, Mr. Speaker, and not running the risk of Senator Mwaruma reading his own version of the statement that was not processed by your office, Mr. Speaker, and you know you need to withdraw the word dismember, because I don't think that your office can dismember anybody's statement. So to avoid running afoul of Standing Order number 55, Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, I request that Senator Mwaruma's statement be stand down until it is consulted and cleared, so that, you know, Senator Mwaruma, according to small information I have, he was in Jivanji for prayer, so he might have brought a Jivanji version. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, you've made your point. Senator Mwaruma, if the statement you intend to read is not the one approved by the chair's desk, then I would advise that you make reference to the one that has been approved. If it's not, then...
Yeah, thank you. Much obliged, Mr. Speaker. This statement has gone through all the processes, and it involves Mzima 2. And I would like to tell my good friend that when you bring Jivanji garden issues here, really, what point are you trying to make, my friend? Senator for Nandi.
Mwaruma, go ahead and
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Given what has been happening in the near past, I wouldn't want really to go to very many issues because I don't have that mood. Now, Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the Mzima Water Abstraction Project in Taita Taveta County. In the statement, the committee should, one, inform the Senate of the anticipated volume of water to be abstracted daily, stating the amount of water that will be shared across the counties that will benefit from the Mzima Water Abstraction Project. Two, provide the concept note, feasibility study, approvals for abstraction of water from the government and its agencies, and a list of the project beneficiaries, as well as evidence of public participation. 3, statewide Taita Taveta County is not listed to benefit from the Mzima Water Abstraction Project, despite being the host county. 4, state the cost of implementation of the water abstraction project to completion, stating the sources of funding. And 5, state whether disputes between the community and the Mzima Water Abstraction Project owners regarding implementation of the project have been resolved ahead of commencement of the project, and if not, halt the project until the disputes are resolved. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Senator. If there are members who want to comment on the statement, I'll allow one, if any. If there is none, I'll call upon Senator Chute to read his statement. Mohammed Chute, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health concerning the status of construction of a medical training college in Saku constituency, Marsabit County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a statement on the construction status of Level 4 Hospital in Sololo Town of Marsabit County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on the construction status of a Level 4 hospital in Sololo Town of Marsabit County. In the statement, the committee should: 1, provide details on the commencement date of the project, completion date, the initial cost, initial price variation, and actual price variation. 2, investigate and report to the Senate on the status of completion of Level 4 hospital in Sololo Town, further establishing the cause of stalling of the construction works and measures taken to revive the construction. 3, to inform the Senate whether the project was tendered for, providing details of the contractor who won the award. 4, state the amount paid to the contractor and how much is outstanding, indicating whether the contractor is still the same. 5, explain the action to be taken against the concerned officers in the event of continued delay in the construction works of the facility. Mr. Speaker, my second statement reads, it's a request for a statement on the construction status of a medical training college in Saku constituency of Marsabit County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on the construction status of a medical training college in Saku constituency of Marsabit County. In the statement, the committee should: 1, provide details on the commencement date of the project, completion date, the initial cost, initial price variation, and actual price variation. 2, investigate and report to the Senate on the status of completion of medical training college in Saku constituency, further establishing the cause of stalling of the construction works and measures taken to revive the construction. 3, inform the Senate whether the project was tendered for, providing details of the contractor who won the award. 4, indicate the amount paid to the contractor and how much is outstanding, indicating whether the contractor is still the same. Finally, number 5, explain the action to be taken against the concerned officers in the event of the continued delay in the construction's work of the facility. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Senator. I will invite if there is any member who would like to comment on that, on the two statements that have just been read out by Senator Chute. If there is none, Senator from Nandi County, Senator Samson Cherargei, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education concerning the transition of learners to junior secondary school.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I have two statements. I hope you'll allow me to read them concurrently so that I don't need to come back. So my first statement is on the request for statement on the transition of learners to junior secondary school. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on the state of transition of learners to junior secondary school. In the statement, the committee should, 1, appraise the Senate on the number of pupils who have transitioned to the junior secondary school, stating the challenges being faced by the Ministry of Education in ensuring 100% transition of pupils to junior secondary schools across the country. Number 2, explain the current state of learning in junior secondary schools, including the development and extent of rollout and coverage of the junior secondary school curriculum, listing the subjects taught. Number 3, inform the Senate on the process of book distribution to public junior secondary schools across the country, indicating whether the accredited private schools have the approved books and are offering the approved syllabus in their private schools. Number 4, state what happens to junior secondary schools classrooms that were built in secondary schools, noting that the government's directive to have junior secondary schools is now domiciled in primary schools. Number 5th, Mr. Speaker, sir, disclose the total number of contractors engaged in the construction of the new junior secondary school blocks, identify those who have been paid, and the amount owed to the remaining contractors across the country. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, sir, state the total number of teachers recruited and deployed to junior secondary school and the current deficit across the country. And the 5th and the last, Mr. Speaker, ascertain if the new directive to ban boarding schools has been implemented, indicating whether junior secondary school will also be affected. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, my second statement, request for statement on the current drought in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on the current drought-ravaging first regions of the country, Mr. Speaker. In the statement, the committee should, 1, spell out the strategic interventions put in place in the Ministry of East Africa, ASAD and semi-arid areas, and regional development to combat Kenya worsening drought situation in the recent times. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, explain the strategy adopted by the National Steering Committee on Drought Response to achieve its objective of raising funds and collecting and distributing food rations to the over 6 million Kenyans across the country affected by the drought countrywide, inclusive of the livestock, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, state the amount of funds raised by the National Steering Committee on Drought Response to mitigate the effects of drought in the country, as well as the accountability measures put in place to prevent wastage, privilege of the said funds that has been collected, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, give a breakdown of how funds that has been raised by the National Steering Committee to the combat drought have been utilized, and areas that have benefited from food donated by government, including animals, and that was raised by government and well-wishers to support the Kenyans that are affected and the livestock across the country. Finally, Mr. Speaker, spell out the strategies currently in place to achieve food security in the country through supporting farmers in terms of crop production and subsidy program. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Senator Cherargei from Nandi County, for your two statements. I see interventions. Senator Beatrice, what is intervention?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the chance. I just wanted to add my voice to the statement that has been given by the Senator for Nandi, and especially on the issue of the junior secondary school, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what the senators raised are real pendant issues out with the public. Mr. Speaker, the fear that is out there in our schools is that teachers were posted to teach the junior secondary school class, but Mr. Speaker, we all know that teachers are trained in particular subjects. So, Mr. Speaker, if a teacher, one or two, are trained to take care of a whole class, and there are a series of subjects that the pupils or the students take, then the school is at a loss on who else takes care of the subjects that are not taken by the one or two teachers that are posted in those schools. Mr. Speaker, the current challenge in our schools is that a teacher is posted to teach the junior secondary school, while the earlier teachers that are in the primary school are also keeping off from teaching this student. So that leaves a gap in the teaching of these students. Mr. Speaker, that means that in a number of our schools, these pupils have not been attended to. Currently, the schools are waiting for the government to give direction, and so I want to support that these concerns that the Senator of Nandi has raised must be responded to by the committee that, Mr. Speaker, you're going to commit this statement to. Indeed, it is a challenge, and it is a challenge that we must attend to as a House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Beatrice, for your intervention on the statement. I see the distinguished chairperson of the Education Committee, Senator Joe Newtu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in my capacity as Senator from Murang'a and as Chair Education Committee in the Senate. And I think I want to join Senator Cherargei in outlining the challenges that we have with transition to junior secondary school. Mr. Speaker, it is true. We have a crisis. And this crisis, Mr. Speaker, has come by because up to and until December of last year, Mr. Speaker, every one of us knew that junior secondary school was going to be domiciled in secondary schools. But Mr. Speaker, following